AITA for telling people not to get my kids anything for Christmas. Every year for Christmas it's the same cycle. People want to get gifts for my kids and we are truly grateful. The issue is we end up having 5-10 people constantly calling our messaging asking what to get them, asking us to send them specific links. And while we are grateful they think of our kids, it gets to be extremely overwhelming. In this already hectic season of us trying to get gifts for our 4 children ourselves, it turns into us basically shopping for everyone else as well. So we decided to tell everyone that the kids will appreciate anything, and it backfired. We decided to send a list anyway, and one of the people responded saying they didn't agree with a certain toy that we allow our kids to play with and insisted on us sending them something else to buy. So am I the off for deciding to tell everyone not to get our kids gifts if they cannot shop for the gifts themselves? Update: yes, I created an Amazon list as stated above. Apparently what I suggested they did not agree with, so I just spent an hour on FaceTime looking through a list they created themselves of things they were willing to get, and I had to help them decide which items. This person is someone I see as an elder, so it's hard for me to be outright mean, but I am very frustrated.
I said no to a lady who asked me to put something back for her at the grocery store and she called me a jerk. Today I was at the grocery store looking for a specific kind of juice, and while I was browsing a lady wearing a mask and a hat walked up to me and asked me to put some orange juice back for her. I looked at where the orange was, and it down at the end of the aisle in the middle of the shelf, completely within her reach. If it was too high for her I would have done it, but she was clearly capable and it seemed like an unnecessary request. I said, "No, you can put it back," and she replied, "Oh, I just thought maybe you could do something nice." And as she was walking away she looked back and called me a jerk. Because she was wearing a mask I couldn't tell how old she was initially, but her voice sounded like an older person. By being in public, did I owe her this favor? It seemed like an entitled request and an unnecessary insult.
AITA for cancelling Christmas. I am the family organizer, the one everyone goes to for holidays, advice, support, or just wants to rant to. I love and hate it equally. I host all major holidays as my home is large and neutral to family drama. I refuse to get involved. Every Christmas we host upwards of 15 people and it is exhausting. We are hosting this year again and I feel excitement and dread in equal measures. Talking to a friend she was dating, they don't do a Christmas meal, just a normal lunch and spend the day enjoying their family time. It sounded so lovely I felt like crying. So next year I have decided I won't be hosting. We will either stay home and order takeaway or we'll plan a long trip over the holiday. My husband was shocked but agreed he would love a quiet Christmas. I spoke to my parents-in-laws about this in passing in our daily catch-ups and the reaction was incredible. I felt like the Grinch and the whole family is acting like I have cancelled Christmas for everyone. I've been told I'm being selfish, that I am excluding us from our grandchildren and ruining this year's holiday too. I have siblings who can host and everyone is able-bodied and can cook for themselves. So am I the or is it time to drop the rope?
AITA to hate my cousin. I am son of the eldermost brother of second gen. He had 3 cis siblings to marry and he carried everyone through financial and existential crisis. I hate everybody because they aren't grateful toward what my father did and always finding ways to point mistakes. My cousin 16F. I hate her. She cuts me off at every family gathering, stealing the charm and attention. Being honest, I am not hungry for attention because I know my worth and attention can't define my worth. But yesterday I said I am wearing a Raymond ethnic skirt. She made me bend and checked behind my collar in front of like 120 people. What do you guys think? Is she an asshole? If you ask me, yes, she is a big one.
AITA for arguing with my mom. So for context, I, 16F, have a weak gut. I've always had gut issues, and I probably always will. I'm also autistic and struggle with interpreting tone and emotion, etc. So sometimes I forget to eat. Recently, I've had little to no appetite in school for the snack. A week ago, Mom asks, "Why aren't you eating your snacks in school?" And I say, just not hungry. And we essentially agreed that she'll stop sending a snack and I won't buy something from the cafeteria. Her exact words, "I'm not paying for something from the cafeteria." And then today, I had a meeting in school for a community I'm part of, and I don't have a chance to eat lunch. So she asks why. I explain. Then, she asks why I haven't eaten my snack. I recount the agreement we had and she essentially blows up at me. And then we argue, and she says I only agreed cause I was pissed. And I asked her how was I meant to know that? She keeps trying to argue. I keep recounting the agreement. Eventually she shouts at me to shut up. Then she tells me not to tell her if I'm sick. I lose it. I tell her I really do. because I know you're not going to take it seriously anyways. I don't think I was wrong, but AITA?
AITA for reconsidering my relationship after my girlfriend mocked my idea of a practical engagement ring. My girlfriend 24F and I 28 and were talking about future plans the other night while scrolling through social media. She came across a video of a woman showing off a huge, flashy engagement ring. And my girlfriend immediately said, "Now that's the bare minimum." I said something like, "Wow, that thing has to be at least 10 grand. I'd rather put money like that toward a house or savings." I wasn't trying to start anything. I'm just more financially cautious and don't really care about expensive jewelry. She looked genuinely offended and said, "You can't be serious. A real engagement ring should be an investment. If it's cheap, it shows how much you value the person." She then said she'd expect something high quality, and when I asked what that meant to her, she casually said, "At least something in the $10, $15K range. Anything lower looks tacky." That threw me. I told her I'd never feel comfortable spending that much when we have real financial goals: travel, buying a home someday, emergencies, life in general. Her response? She rolled her eyes and said, "You sound like someone who plans to propose with a discount ring." It wasn't even the number that bothered me, it was the attitude behind it. I tried explaining that I believe the meaning of the proposal matters more than the price of a ring, and she flat out told me I was missing the point and that she deserves a ring that reflects her worth. Since then, I've been thinking a lot. We've talked about the future before marriage, moving in together, long-term plans, and I always thought we were aligned, but this whole conversation made me wonder if we actually share the same values, especially around money and priorities. Now I'm stuck questioning whether I'm overthinking or if this is something I shouldn't ignore. It feels weird to consider breaking up over a ring conversation, but the way she dismissed my perspective made me feel like she cared more about status than our actual relationship. AITA for thinking about ending things over this.
AITA for telling my husband he can watch the show I've been recommending by himself after he only agreed to watch it when his cousin recommended it. Hi, just looking for a quick judgment. This might sound petty, and if it is and if I'm behaving like an I'll drop the issue and apologize. I've been recommending Gilmore Girls to my husband for something to watch since we started dating really. I even showed him some clips and he said he'd pass, which was fine with me. I've loved it since I was a teenager, and I also understand it's not for everyone. Since I've known him, I've probably watched the show twice over, by myself. Yesterday we were at a family dinner, where a lot of his extended family were as well, and a cousin he's close to. Anyway, today after dinner, as we were watching TV, he put on Netflix, searched up Gilmore Girls with full intent, and then said his cousin had told him his wife got him hooked to this show. It's become a guilty pleasure of his. I honestly thought he was messing with me. I told him I'd suggested it countless times, and me vouching for it had never been good enough, but his cousin's word was gospel. He was just like, "Are you sure this is the same show?" Which just made me madder. I told him I'd seen it twice since I knew him because he never watched it with me, so he can watch it by himself, and I just went to a room. I heard him put it on for like a minute and then he seems to have switched to something else. I'm sorry for posting something so petty, but really AITA for my reaction. Edit: I haven't gotten a chance to go over all the comments. The first few had made the point that this really isn't a hill to die on. I told him why I reacted the way I did. He said the way I described it and the clips versus the way his cousin did were very different. He didn't mean to blow me off. So anyway, we're watching it now. I'll be sure to come back to this post.
AITA for my reaction to my brother's pregnancy. AITA for being upset with my brother about getting pregnant with his girlfriend. For context, my fiancé of 12 years and I have been preparing for IVF for months and were planning to start IVF and get married in spring/summer 2026. My brother has been with his girlfriend for a matter of weeks and she is now 7 weeks pregnant, due in the summer. My mom told me the news, and all I have heard from my brother since then is asking my fiancé directly for our cooker we have in the garage as theirs broke, which I was wanting to save in case our next rental doesn't have one like our last, but my fiancé gave the impression we were getting rid of it to clear the garage, so my brother wants it for free. Due to this, there was some confusion and conflict in which my brother fairly enough wanted clarity on whether they could have the cooker or not, but also told me he is upset I didn't contact him to congratulate him on the pregnancy, to which I told him I am hurting because of the timing of their news hitting me in a raw place, but he doesn't think them having a baby first is a reason to be upset with him for having a child. I just don't know if my reaction to their news is justified or if I'm being an asshole for not congratulating them. So what do you think, AITA?
AITA for not helping out an acquaintance. So, this guy I worked with for 6 months, about 2 years back, I reconnected with him, because why not asking him about his whereabouts? He's doing an MBA, which he didn't tell me. We are just acquaintances, not friends. After I reconnected with him, he asks me for my help in his placement interviews. He forwards me the job role and asks me if what we did in the company relates to that. Like, bro, read the job role and decide for yourself. He asks me what I did in the company, since I did a variety of jobs there, and he wasn't the brightest of the group, and did not get any cream work. He wants me to share all my experiences and learnings with him for his interview. The initial 3 times, I did give my time on call for about 25-30 minutes each, but now, he sends me a 600-700 words job role, asks me to read it, and tells me we will discuss tomorrow. No courtesy of please or can you. I gave him a chat prompt to help himself with that. Told him I'm busy with my work and other commitments for a few weeks, and told him I can't help him. He just messages me when he needs me, started taking me for granted, expects help like it's his birthright. So, am I the asshole?
AITA for thinking that people who worship celebrities and influencers are less intelligent and speaking loudly about it. I see a lot of people online especially, but also some of my friends worship so much influencers and celebrities. I think now influencers even more. They obsess about them, observe their social media all the time, comment everything. Also they believe everything they say, and how they are. I always thought that I can never actually like that much someone who I don't really know. And also I think there's also a lot of untrue things on social media. And it shocks me how many people just see things, believe them and promote these people like they're some kind of gods. It's kinda scary how many people are like this. I sometimes comment or tell someone something like, but you know they are doing this because someone pays them, or you know it's probably made up when some wannabe influencer is making up some sad sob story. Or maybe I am weird and negative that I don't do this.
I used to think I had an eating disorder, but now I'm just disgusted with myself. I think I've posted on here before, but I feel I've had an epiphany. I was diagnosed with anorexia, but I think it was a misdiagnosis. I really only just stopped eating because I hated myself. Something completely in my control, honestly. I've never struggled with weight, and in recovery I felt extremely out of place. I probably never even had an ed and have lied to myself, and literally almost every problem was solved once I got my self-worth in check. The only reason I was probably diagnosed was to, I guess, slap a label over what happened. That's not even the worst part. I told my friend who potentially may have an actual eating disorder about what I thought was happening. Note that I'm just biologically underweight, and I probably just invalidated whatever they struggle with. I'm absolutely vile and deserve the worst. I made a mockery out of a serious problem people genuinely struggle with. Why the fuck did I even make it out alive? I deserve for it to happen again and again and again. I shouldn't have made it out alive.
AITA for defending my girlfriend to my mum. Hello all, my last post in April gave me a lot of good advice that I took to heart, and my relationship has been doing so much better than before because of it, so thank you. Now, it's a different problem. Some context. In September my 21M sister Becca 22F flew into town from her college in Oklahoma. My whole family tagged along, and I brought my girlfriend Cassie 19F. My sister and her had texted and FaceTimed before, but they hadn't met in person due to my sister having an apartment in Oklahoma. Cassie and Becca were chatting it up and really getting along, which was great. However, after the dinner, my mom told Becca that she felt like Cassie was annoying and rude. This apparently wasn't the first time my mom has told Becca something rude about Cassie. This is just the first time Becca had told me. I didn't say anything to my mom directly because I didn't want anything rocky between her and Cassie, who was still under the impression that my mom liked her. However, recently my sister and Cassie FaceTimed, where Becca told Cassie what my mom had said. Naturally, this upset her and she was scared to come over to my house and talk to my mom. I was a little mad at my sister for telling Cassie this, but ultimately I know she deserved to know. At Thanksgiving, my mom started on her bullshit again to Becca, who was home, and I lost my cool. I told my mom to knock it off, and that she had no idea what she was talking about. I clarified that nobody else at the table thought my girlfriend was rude, and that she didn't even have logical reasoning to be saying that. Now, my mom and dad are mad at me. My sister thinks I made it worse, and my girlfriend doesn't know because she was at work. I know I need to tell her, but was I in the wrong for what I did?
AITA for not visiting my in-laws even though they visit us often. My mother-in-law is upset because we haven't visited her in about a year. My husband and I have a 1.5-year-old and traveling with a baby is a lot. Meanwhile, my in-laws come to visit us every other month. We always welcome them into our home, and we FaceTime with them multiple times a week so they can see our daughter. They're truly welcome anytime. They're also visiting us for Thanksgiving, and we took the week off of work to spend quality time with them. They have 2 homes. One is a 4-hour flight away, the other is an hour flight, and they're healthy, retired, and have plenty of disposable income. My husband and I both work full-time. We also have a nanny we pay regardless of whether we're home or not, and honestly, we don't do much these days besides hang out as a family. So flying somewhere else to hang out the exact same way just isn't appealing to us right now. We visited last Christmas and are planning to visit again this Christmas for a week each time. When I recently tried to explain that it's hard for us to travel with a baby and apologized for not making it a priority, my Mill said, "It's always going to be hard. It's never going to get easier," and told us it feels like a one-way street. She puts in the effort and we don't. From my perspective, we stay in touch constantly, we host them often, and we aren't refusing to visit. We're just not prioritizing multi-hour flights with a toddler when they're able and willing to come to us. AITA for letting them visit us instead of making trips to visit them.
AITA flatmate won't speak to me after I pushed back on her having 3 family members stay at our flat for 2 weeks. So my flatmate made plans with her family, without even mentioning it to me first, for 3 of them to stay at our 2-bedroom flat with us for 2 weeks in January. I work from home 3 days a week and my workspace is in our living room, where she said her family would be sleeping while they are here. The concerns I raised were that I was concerned where they would be keeping all their things and that I would need access to the living room 3 days a week starting at 9 a.m., which is when I start work. I also said I was concerned with the level of mess with 3 extra people staying in our flat. She said she was wildly hurt that I would assume her family would leave a mess, but that it was fine and she would let her family know that they are not welcome at the flat. I offered an alternative of me going to stay elsewhere for 2 weeks if she would pay half my rent and bills for that month, as I wouldn't be utilizing that rent or bills for the time I wasn't there, and it might be cheaper than getting alternative accommodation for her and her family for 2 weeks. To which she said she didn't think it was fair that I expected her to pay more when I would be working from home 3 days a week. I don't think it's fair that she's expecting me to contribute to paying for her 3 family members using our hot water and electricity for 2 weeks. I'm in Scotland and utilities are not cheap here. Anyways, she hasn't spoken to me in almost a week now. Have I been totally out of line with this? My concerns? What would you do in this situation?
AITA for disliking my partner's haircut. My boyfriend has been begging me for months to let him get a buzz cut. Personally, I hate buzz cuts. I used to not care about them, but a few years ago, I was in a very toxic relationship, and certain things bring up very bad memories. Buzz cuts, unfortunately, became one of these things. Sometimes when I see a guy with a buzz cut in public, there is always a bit of fear, wondering if it's my ex. I had addressed this to my boyfriend, but he told me that it's just hair and that I'd grow back. I told him that if he did want to get it, I wouldn't stop him, but I'd be very uncomfortable because of my past. I told him I'd probably be less outwardly affectionate ex. Hugs, but that it doesn't mean I love him any less. He got very upset at the idea of me getting less distant over a haircut. Emo, understandable. Today, he got a buzz cut, and I fear that I am having a bit of anxiety. I told him that I was happy he got to do what he wanted to do, but that I wouldn't be as outwardly affectionate because the buzz cut gave me bad memories. He is now upset at me because he doesn't understand how a buzz cut could cause someone so much distress. AITA?
AITA for rubbing in my brother's face the help I give him. My M23 brother M20 always dismisses my opinions because I'm on the autism spectrum and, according to him, I'm emotionally immature. From political issues to life in general, he always underestimates my opinion. The only time he genuinely values my opinion is when he's about to take exams. He's studying engineering, and I studied pure mathematics, so I'm occasionally helping him with his multivariable calculus final. The other day, he disagreed with me going on dates with men I met online because he said it was dangerous since they could take advantage of me. He found out about this because I asked him to take me to a certain place, a public place, by the way, since it was far away and I don't drive. He pointed out that I pretend to go out with men, yet I don't even know how to get there on my own, and I got upset and confronted him about how he asks me for help with his university exams. He got angry about this and told me not to help him anymore. Eventually, I apologized because the tense situation gives me anxiety, and now we're okay.
I suddenly realized I'm a terrible wife and a selfish person. Throw away because I don't want this stupid fucking ramble tied to my main account. My husband 29 had emergency heart surgery on the 16th of November and now has a mechanical heart valve. The 13 hours he was in surgery was the worst experience of my life. We hadn't spent a night apart since 2019 and suddenly I was scared he was going to die. Obviously due to this he needed a lot of help doing things like showering, brushing his hair, he can't carry heavy things, etc. It's made me realize how completely reliant I am on him and how useless I am on my own or as the spouse who provides the care. I didn't know where our insurance cards were. I didn't know where he kept our important documents. I figured it out, but I just feel fucking pathetic. My husband does so much for me, because that's just who he is. And I've been so fucking selfish that I didn't even realize exactly how much. I love him so much, and I want to be who he is for me, for him. But even now as he's healing from life-saving surgery he wants to make things easier for me. Isn't that fucking pathetic? What kind of spouse am I? What kind of woman am I? How could I be so selfish that when he needs me, I still need his help?
AITA for refusing to bring $100 minimum to Thanksgiving. My family and I celebrate Thanksgiving every year with my siblings, parents, and their kids. Roughly 20-25 people including kids. My family is only 2 people with one 6-month-old baby. In the group chat it was decided that my nephew would cook meat since he bought a grill. He also told us that we could bring the sides. He chose to spend $300 on meat. I messaged in the group chat that we would bring mashed potatoes. My sister responding that every family has to bring $100 worth of food minimum or help my nephew pay for the meat. I'm not totally against the idea of bringing that much food, but just the way it was presented and the fact that it wasn't agreed to beforehand makes me upset. The following day in the group chat, my sister said option 1 bring food enough for everyone, not just yourself. Option 2 help Thomas pay for meat $100 family. Option 3 help dad pay water bill $200 family. Choose wisely. Upset, I responded with option 4 don't show up. Am I being an asshole if I don't show up at all in protest to this $100 minimum rule? AITA for not showing up to the meetup I planned so he could get his birthday gift, because he never even confirmed he was coming. We had already gone our separate ways, but I still wanted to do the decent thing and give him his birthday present. I told him the exact time and place where he could pick it up. I sent the message, waited, and got nothing. No okay, no I'll come, not even a reaction within 2 days. The day came, and since he hadn't replied at all, I assumed he didn't care enough to show up. So I stayed home. Later I found out he did come, late, and waited me about 20 minutes. He never messaged me beforehand, never said he was on his way, absolutely nothing. Now he's telling me I ruined his birthday and that I'm a bitch because I wasn't magically waiting there like a mind reader. From my point of view, if someone wants their gift, the bare minimum is to confirm the plan. But now he's acting like I committed some huge crime.
AITA for getting upset that my boyfriend cleans so much. So this might sound stupid, but I 19M have been dating my boyfriend 19M for about a year. Overall, he's kind, supportive, and means well, But there's one thing that's becoming a huge issue for me. For some background knowledge, he doesn't have the best parents in the world. For most of his childhood he cleaned. I'm not going to go into much more detail than that because that is his private information. But he cleans constantly, and I don't mean normal levels of tidy. I mean if a dish touches the sink, he grabs it. If I put laundry in a basket, he starts the washer. If I'm banking and there's a slight mess on the counter, he'll start cleaning up. Or when I make us dinner, his main priority is cleaning up instead of eating real quick and then cleaning up. The food goes cold all the time, and every time I have to tell him, can we just eat real quick? At first, I thought it was sweet. He's tidy, organized, and likes a clean place. But over time, it started to feel suffocating. I can't do anything before he beats me to it, or fixes it afterward. Like I can never do anything right. It's gotten to the point where I feel hopeless and incompetent in my own home. I'll try to help and he'll either redo it immediately or do it before I get to it. Even though I'm the one that made the mess and should clean it, I always picked up after myself. Even before I met him, I clean up any mess that I have created, and I will always keep my house tidy, so it's not like I'm a dirty person by any means. Today, I was in the shower, and the house needed to be clean, and I thought I would ask him to clean it together, play some music and have some time to clean up. But as soon as I got out, it was already super clean. I just wanted to help him this once instead of feel unuseful. I'm feeling like all I do is sit around and do nothing. I snapped and told him, why can't you just leave things as it is? Why can't you just not clean all the time? And I left. Now he's upset, and I heard him throw things around the house, and when I went to go check on him, and he's telling me he doesn't know why I'm upset. So I to for getting upset that my boyfriend cleans everything before I can and makes me